Hello and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. We're going somewhere fabulous with a recipe today. We're doing Eastern lamb. So we're going off to the Middle East and making a fabulous recipe. And there's a few reasons why I really love this recipe and why I picked it today. The main one is it has pumpkin in it. I just love anything that's got pumpkin in it. Now this recipe is out of book 4 and there's the recipe there. The Eastern lamb. If you haven't tried it, oh my gosh, you really need to. It's so fabulous. But it's also serves 4, but you can also get it in the more cooking 1 or 2 serves 2. So you've got the options there, which is fantastic. Now, what we need for this recipe, I've got my trusty little wok ready to go. Please don't think of woks as just for Asian cooking. I use it for nearly everything. It's fantastic. The only time I don't use it is when I need a really flat, big surface, and that's when I use a bigger fry pan. So just my thoughts anyway. So we're going to start with lamb. So we want the lamb leg steaks. We want 500 grams of lean lamb leg steaks. Now I've already preempted the pumpkin because you know how to peel pumpkin and you know how to dice it. But you microwave it till it's just cooked. I do them in fairly good size cubes. I don't make it really small because I want to know that pumpkin's there and it's just cooked, okay? I did it for 6 minutes on high, just to let you know for me. And I've just left it there drained and I'll add that at the end. And because if you overcook your pumpkin, then it just mushes up into it. And I want to know, I want to pick up a piece of pumpkin and put it in my mouth because I love it. And I've used Kent pumpkin with this. So it's 750 grams as you buy it, and then you'll peel it and core it and chop it all up. We've got green beans. We need a cup of green beans. And we also need a cup of red capsicum sliced. I've got some shallots. You want half a cup of shallots. And I've got some fresh coriander to add to it. Now, if you're not a coriander fan, then replace it with maybe basil. It would be my option. What do you think, Bill? Anything else? Parsley. Yes. I quite like that idea. Parsley might be a nice one too. I love coriander, so I'm in. But you know, there is a thing, isn't it? You're in or you're out with coriander. So what are you? Are you in or out with coriander? Let me know because I put in the comments because I always like to read them. Are you a coriander person or is it dead to you? All right, so now we've got the meat, we've got the vegetables, plus the pumpkin, remember. We're going to also put in a teaspoon each of garlic and ginger. Now you can use fresh. I'm going to use the easy way. I've got some beef stock powder here, soy sauce, and it's always the low salt soy sauce. But the key to this one, what really bangs it out, is the red curry paste. Now it's just going to make it very flavoursome for you. We're also going to put in, look, I put in a couple of teaspoons of sugar to this because it just mellows everything. It's not sweet so much as that it just gives it a blend in your mouth that's better. I've also got some corn flour to go into the evaporated milk. Now because they've changed the size of the milk, the cans of milk, I'm adding 35 mils of skim milk to bring that to the 375 which says in your recipe, as well as you want a little bit of coconut essence, which you can get in IGA. You don't get them in the supermarket anymore. And I've got my cooking spray here ready to go, which is the rice brand, because that's what I like to use. They recommend that for a good quality cookware. All right, so let's do the veggies first, shall we? All right, so I'm going to actually I'll use the smaller knife for this. It says a cup of beans cut in half, but these are quite long, so I'm actually going to, and I did the ends of them before we came on because it's just a bit boring. You don't want to see me chopping the ends off, but I'm going to cut it into 3 really. There we go. Now, if you're not a bean person, you could swap it for zucchini maybe, or you could replace it with cauliflower would be nice, celery, like up to you. I love green beans, fresh green beans. You could use the frozen if you really didn't have any at that time, but I do love fresh. Now we're going to do a cup of red capsicum. Now I'm using red because I'm all about colour and I want things to look absolutely beautiful when you're putting it on the plate to serve up. Just get those seeds out. Now it's cut into thin strips and I mean, look, it doesn't matter if you use a different colour capsicum if that's all you've got. I just like to see the red and the green and the yellow pumpkin and the meat. It just will entice you to want to put that in your bowl and eat it for sure. All right, thanks for joining me today, because I always look forward to our catch up on a Thursday. I don't know what I'd do with myself, hey, if I didn't have it. All right, a cup of capsicum, maybe just a little bit more. Now see that end bit? I always use it, but I cut it down like that and then slice it. And it works really well. Waste not, want not, people. We're paying too much money for our food at the moment, aren't we? All right, there's the capsicum. Put that in my bin now. We've also got shallots, and we're going to do them a little different. Normally I always just slice them, yes? Well, we're going to slice them, but I'm going to make it a little different. Just try not to take too much of the white off, because that's the gold on a shallot. We want that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them about 2 centimetres for this recipe. You know, normally I would just do them in small slices. And use this green stuff, it's fabulous. Once again, waste not, want not. I only want half a cup though, so let's see how we go. There we are. I'm just putting them, they all go in at the same time, so we can put them in a bowl ready to go in as we're cooking. Now the other vegetable, or not vegetable, but the herb is coriander. Now I only want a tablespoon, so this will be, I don't need the whole bunch by any means. But what I would suggest you do is look for other recipes that use coriander, because you'll find then, you know, you're not wasting it. I mean, you can freeze herbs and then they can be used in cooking, but once they're frozen, I wouldn't say put it on a salad or anything, because they go quite dark and slightly mushy, but you definitely can freeze them. All right, we only want a tablespoon. There we go. I'm going to, oh no, I don't. I shouldn't have put it in there, but that's all right. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to go in at near the end there, but that's okay. I got a bit ahead of myself, didn't I? Okay, now we're going to do the meat. So let me just wash my hands. I might turn this over because I can. There we go. Now the meat is cut into strips, and it's the beautiful lean lamb. Now if you don't want to do lamb, because sometimes it can be a bit expensive, but it's also nice to have variety, isn't it? Now the fat count for using the lamb is 11.3 per serve. Now if you wanted to change it, you could do chicken. So you'd do the same amount, 500 grams, of skinless chicken breasts cut into strips. Now that's only 4.5 grams of fat. You can also then, if you wanted to, make it with rump, and that's 8.2 grams of fat a serve. Or you could go to tofu for veggies, because I've got to make sure I look after everybody on the show, and the tofu is 9.8. It tells you in the recipe, it has a spot. If there's a variation, always look for the variation symbol, and you'll see. I like to do that because it just, when you change from lamb to chicken, it really does change the flavour. And what I found for me, it means that I can make this recipe a lot more, because the family aren't going, oh, not the lamb dish again. Basically, if they said that, I'd be right. Well, you cook your own dinner. All right, so this is ready. I'm going to start off with the cooking now. Give your pan a good spray. I'm going to heat that up. I'll bring it over in a minute so you can see it. But I'll just... And this recipe, it's interesting because what I do is I put the lamb in, and I do with the curry and the ginger and garlic. I'm going to put that in as well. So let's just put in our meat. Now remember, this is enough for 4 that I'm making, but if you wanted to, you can always make it in the more cooking, where I've adapted it just for 2. Now you can freeze this recipe for a couple of weeks because it's got the evaporated milk in it. That does mean you can only probably freeze it for 2 or 3 weeks. There we go. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to wash my hands. All right. And we can bring it over now. So let's put in each a teaspoon of garlic and ginger. And these flavours will infuse into it while it's cooking. Thanks for joining me today. I love making different recipes for you. You know, if there's a request you have, let me know, because I'm always interested in what you are asking for. And actually, funny enough, the recipe that I'm going to be cooking next week, I'll tell you about that later, was that I decided to do it because of people requesting it. See, so there you go. We want 3 teaspoons of red curry paste. All right. So we're just going to, I'm going to move back from that because that steam will choke me with the curry. You just cook them off, just toss that together. There we go. You're browning that off. You can see it's got coated by all the filling that the paste and the garlic and the ginger. And I just want to get that cooking for a little bit longer. Then we're going to put in the vegetables. We're putting in the coriander. It's supposed to go in near the end. What does it matter? We all do our thing, hey. Even I make mistakes, absolutely. And they're my recipes, so there you go. So in goes the shallots, the capsicum, and the green beans. Let me just clean up my mess here. All right, so we mustn't forget to put that in at the end. We've got our milk, corn flour. There we go. All right. Now I want to keep my vegetables crispy. I don't want to overcook them. So just cook them off just as I'm doing, just quickly. Now this type of recipe would normally be really high in fat because they would use coconut cream. And my way, if you haven't been watching the show, where have you been? But it is, my version is using the evaporated light milk with coconut essence. So, you know, that brings it down from quite a high fat count. Probably for 1 cup of coconut cream, it's about 40 grams of fat. And some people say, well, I could have the light coconut cream. I go, no, it's 20 grams of fat. Forget it. There's so many better things to do with 20 grams of fat than use it for coconut milk. And I think the light one is a bit watery as well. I'm not a fan. So doing it this way, it's under 4 grams a cup. I know. All right, so let's put in the next things. So we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of the low salt soy sauce. It's really, they're really about healthy living when you're using the low salt products as well. It's good for the heart. All right, I've got the 2 teaspoons of sugar going in. And then we want 2 teaspoons of the beef stock powder. Let's toss that together. Oh my gosh, this is so yum. Let me read you what the dietitian wrote about this recipe because I thought it was a bit fabulous. She says, this low-fat, and that's Lisa Cochran, you know, she's amazing. This low-fat recipe combines pumpkin, which is high in vitamin A and fibre, love that, and meat high in protein, iron and zinc. An excellent one for people with diabetes. So that's a great compliment, isn't it? All right. All right, so we're looking good. So all we've got to do now is combine the milks with the corn flour. And once that goes in, I will then put in my pumpkin. Because I really, if it gets too overcooked, it'll just mush up and I'll be very disappointed. Putting that extra bit of milk in to bring it to that 375. I'm then going to now add in half a teaspoon of coconut essence, which you can get in most IGA stores, especially the bigger ones, or go onto the Queen's website that make it. We want 2 tablespoons. Let me give this a bit of a toss. I like being a bit of a tosser. 2 tablespoons. I'm missing a tablespoon. I need a dry one. 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Just give that a whisk up. Oh, the spoon's caught. In it goes. There we are. Now remember, this is enough for 4. I'd serve it with rice, and I always use the basmati rice because that's a lower GI. In goes our favourite thing, which is pumpkin. Now, if you're not a pumpkin person, really, what you could do is replace it with maybe sweet potato or diced eggplant. Yeah. Or you could even do potato, diced potato. But then, I don't know, I don't like potato and rice together. It just seems a bit too many carbs. But I'm just giving you options because that's what I do here. All right, so now I'm just waiting for this to boil. And then I can serve it up. Oh my gosh, you should smell, we should have smell-o-vision. It would be so good. Now, if you also really like a really hot sauce, you could be flexible with how much red curry paste you put in. You could put in less if you don't want it too strong, but it is very much about the flavour of it. You could put more in if you really like a really hot one. But make it as I've said, and then taste it, and you can make a decision. Now I've got my bowl here. I'm going to be using this as if this is what I love to use to serve up to people and let them help themselves. Oh my gosh, look at this. Yay. Now look, if you want to win book 4 or the Cooking for 102, is it more? No, more Cooking for 102. You could win and get a Percy signed copy. How fabulous. All you have to do is like, share, and in the comments, you really do know what to do by now, surely. Hashtag simply too good. Put that in, and I'll pick 3 fabulous people to get their own personally signed copy. There we go. See, look, it's thickening up beautifully. I just want it to boil and then I'll serve it up. So, can I tell you what's happening next week? Because you've all requested it. I'm going to be going into more Cooking for 102. So, if you don't win this week, you might win it next week. And I'll be making the Indian pasties. That's right. Everyone's been asking about how to, for me to show you how you do it. They're really easy to make. So we've gone to the Middle East this week. Next week we're going to go to India. So we're traveling the world in my kitchen right now. But the pasties are so good. And I'll show you how easy it is to make. So you really need to be here next week to watch that Indian pasties. I mean, if you want any more recipes or tips, go to simplytoogood.com.au. You know that. But for now, it's all about Eastern lamb. So I'm just going to see if this works. I'm going to lift it up. It's very heavy. And I'm going to just serve this up to my family with a lot of pride and joy. What I love is offering my family food that's not only fabulous, but also healthy and amazing. Look at that. There we go. Well, another Thursday done and dusted. Thank you very much. I mean, who knew that weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Yum. If you could smell it, you'd be excited as I am. Anyway, I'll see you next week for the Indian pasties. So take care and have an awesome week. Bye.